got this figured out. Do you know how is the slide alternating? It's supposed to.
It's just two sides.
Yeah, the two. You know how to.
Just want to get my.
Hey, good morning, Jerry.
Morning.
How you doing? Hey, Micah. How you doing?
Good. I have 5 slides.
Do you want to put them on here?
Yeah, we changed the order a bit.
Oh, could do that.
Yeah.
'Cause
Yeah,
I did
yeah.
make some changes
Right.
since. That's a good idea. Just flow right
Okay.
into it.
That's good.
Hey, morning.
Anything else you guys want to send to me to be
Good morning.
Well, that's not going to work.
Is that a computer?
clear? Do you have anything you
No.
want to send to
Nope.
me to check?
Nope.
You right there?
You okay?
Got it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have problems with my hands lately. I have carpal tunnel, so they're numb and they don't work right.
How you feeling?
Okay.
Good.
It's a tough night, but I'll tell you about that later. So, I'm here.
Good. Yeah, tell me about it later.
Yeah.
Like right after? Or like when?
It just was a rough night. Lisa had a horrible headache. Just ended up in the emergency room last night, 3 o'clock in Midtown, and then it just was. And then we ended up coming back
I
home.
will
I've
have
been up
surgery
since 3
within the
o'clock.
next
She went
couple
back
of
to sleep.
months.
She's okay now.
To fix it.
She's here,
Well,
right?
you know,
Yeah,
it's,
she's talking
it's
Robin.
actually
She's
good news.
doing okay now. It just was a tough night. Tough night. Yeah, thank you. Asher, you guys need to sit down, okay?
I'm Heidi Einhorn at Gmail.
All right.
We thought it was because of arthritis in my
Very,
neck.
very small.
I know. I know some people are
Yeah,
live
so I can
streaming.
fix it.
Usually there's about 50 to 75. And we publicized it.
Yeah.
I don't know why there's less of a crowd this year.
I think we're still like adjusting to post COVID. I think
I don't know. Some people, I got some text messages this morning. They wanted to live stream. Well, Ben Krieger is sick, and some people. But I'll give another minute or two.
Coming at you.
10:03. Okay, why don't you go sit down? Do you remember Natalie?
Yes.
You want to go sit with Natalie?
I really
Natalie?
like the way
Okay,
PowerPoint
but you're
works.
here, so you gotta go sit down.
It gives you
Go
the
sit with Mom.
screen, it shows your notes.
Okay.
Yeah, it is really good. All right.
Google Sheets does not do that.
Okay.
One more second there, and then I'll.
Another minute. Hang on. All right, guys, we're gonna start getting your seats. All right, good morning, everybody. I'd like to call the annual meeting to order, so please go ahead and take your seats. Thank you for coming out this morning. It's somewhat dreary, overcast Sunday morning, so thank you for coming, for being here. We want to start with approving the 2023 minutes. So can someone make a motion to approve the 2023 minutes that were sent out in advance of the meeting? Bill? Do we need to read the minutes? No. Agree, yes. Can we get a second to the motion? Thank you, Lisa. The 2023 annual meeting minutes have been approved. All right. Moving right along. Rabbi, all right. Let's lead us a little Devar.
I won't have you sing too long. Elecha Adonai Ekra V'el Adonai Echanan Elecha Adonai Ekra V'el Adonai Adonai Hey Ozer Li. There are many psalms that we say every single day, but Psalm 30, the song of the Chanukat Habayit LeDavid, the song of the dedication of David's temple, is a psalm that really speaks about resilience. It speaks about a time when the people of Israel had challenges, and yet they brought themselves together to create something communal, to create a house, a place where they could gather and connect to God's presence. And in that song, we call out to God. We call out to God, and in how we sing it, we actually skip a line. We skip a line and we say, the line that we skip is, what use is there of my blood? Right? That if we were to die, would we be able to praise you? So we say, Shema Adonai v'choneni. Hear me, Adonai, be gracious to me. Adonai hiye ozer li. Adonai will be my help. And when I think about this year, the last 12 months, and I think about all that this congregation has accomplished, I'm so proud of the way we've called out to God, the way we've gathered, the way we've built. There is so much to be proud of. And when I think about the world over the last 12 months, we have to acknowledge how hard this year has been in ways that we could never have imagined 12 months ago. The fact that each day our hearts are broken as hostages are underground in Gaza, that the war rages and turns the world against us. The challenges that we face are real. And this psalm ends, Hafachta mispiri lemacholi. You have turned my mourning into joy. And these words this year, they were reversed, because on one of the greatest days of our joy, on Simchat Torah, the world turned to mourning. And yet, we are still here. And not only are we here, but we're going to find ways to be here. And the question is, why? What are we for? And the psalmist has an answer. In order that we should sing to you, Adonai. And the question is, well, okay, so what do we sing? How do we join our voices together to be here, le'olam odeka, forever and ever? And the answer is that we have a purpose that is greater than ourselves. And here at Shereth Israel, we're just one community among many. But we know why we're here. We're here because we connect people to meaningful living through Judaism. We connect people to something that is greater than ourselves. We connect people to one another. We form relationships. We learn ancient wisdom and apply it to the world today. We lose ourselves in each other's voices when we pray and connect to something beautiful. We make the world a better place. We tell the story and we recognize what the story is for. And though we have challenges, though we have things that we need to accomplish, in order to accomplish that mission, we know what we're doing. Because I look at this amazing, amazing community and our strength and the history of where we've been and the challenges we faced over that long history. And I want to encourage everyone to reread Marshall's Devar Torah from Friday Night Live after October 7th. And know that we will be here, le'olam odeka, forever and ever, when we join our hands together and our voices together and act in song, le'olam odeka, forever and ever. so proud of this community, of where we have been this last year, and I'm proud of where we're going to head. And I'm so grateful to all of you for making all of that happen. I'll invite our president to come and share some of the details of where we've been and where we're headed.
Thank you, Rabbi. That's beautiful. Once again, thank you for coming out this morning. Sheriff Israel is in a good position. We do have many strengths. The State of the Union, i.e. the state of Sheriff Israel, is strong. That being said, more accurately, we have many strengths. The world has changed over the last year. The Jewish people have experienced an earth-shaking tragedy and transformation, but do not despair. We're in a good position. We're in a place of strength. We're a community and people of resistance, as Rabbi talked about. So by the numbers, since we last met 1 year ago, 12 months ago, we've had 42 member units join. So that means a total of 105 individuals. Older families, younger families, individuals. That's incredible. That's amazing growth. So congratulations, and it's really an accomplishment to have that kind of growth in 12 months. I also want to mention a few programs from the last year. But you can see a more complete list of all the programs and activities we've done through this QR code. So pull up your phone, and we can, I don't know if you took the QR code, took a picture of it when you walked in, but you can also pass it out. And it serves as an almost annual meeting highlights what we've done over this last year. I want to thank Robin Deutsch-Edwards for helping put this annual report together. I also want to thank Robin for helping create the framework for this year's annual meeting, helping craft the story. So thank you, Robin. But scan it, and you'll be blown away when you realize the amount of programs, activities that have taken place in the last 12 months. A couple of highlights. We have Shabbat every week, but we've also had some very special Shabbats. We've honored new members. We've honored past President Heidi Einhorn. We've had Joe Cohen Award Shabbat, Men's Club Shabbat, Bar Mitzvah Celebration Shabbats, Sisterhood Shabbat, and so on. Last summer, we had an incredible night of learning. This place was just lots of activity and learning and sessions, so thank you for all those that helped teach, and thank you for those that did some learning. MLK weekend, we had a weekend of community service. So thank you, Sheriff for Good Committee, and also Robin helping out with those programming. We've had plenty of learning opportunities. I'm very proud of the adult learning we've put together over the last year. The Emirate Sheriff Series. So thank you, Sarah and Robin Rosenberg, for helping put that together. We've had Rabbi Helfand's courses on Judaism. Thank you. Rabbi Kamen's teaching. We've had scholars in residence. Reb Mimi. We also had someone from the Hartman Institute. Synagogue Scholars and Authors Series, which are members of our own congregation and talking about their areas of expertise. We did a joint class with the In-Town Community Church, a 2-day seminar on the history of anti-Semitism, which was amazing, really eye-opening. I also want to acknowledge our thoughtful response to the October 7th attacks. The board wrestled with these questions and developed a good response. We didn't know what to do, but we thought about ways how we can support the congregants, how can we support the Jewish people, and how we can support Israel. The board developed a 3-pronged approach: pastoral care, advocacy, and acknowledgement. We created healing circles of comfort. People would come together and sing and prayer. We also produced a space for members to express themselves, to write. You've seen these come out somewhat periodically, not necessarily Sheriff Israel messages, but these were messages from individuals, how the October 7th impacted them. Our staff and leadership have worked extremely hard. They've really risen to the challenge. Jania has a year under her belt. Rabbi Helfand's been here for almost 2 years. Rabbi Kamen since 2016. Honestly, I think this is the best staff we've had in a long time. So thank you, staff. There is an excitement and energy in being a part of Shereth Israel right now. We have a clear vision and a mission. Shereth Israel provides a space and a place for meaningful connections, opportunities to foster real relationships, as Rabbi came and talked about. Rabbi also referenced one of Marshall's Devar tours. We also talked to the board at one of his last board meetings, and he honed in on this concept that people often come to Shereth Israel just to be with other members of Shereth Israel. So that's one reason people come, but people come and join for a multitude of reasons, and we're hopefully set up to meet people with what they need. Shereth provides the forum for members to deepen their connection to Judaism, engage in prayer, study, observance of Jewish holidays and rituals. We provide a sense of belonging and community for individuals and families. Members form close bonds with each other through shared experiences, whether it's Sunday morning running club, whether I know the sisterhood at an event going to house last night, all kinds of opportunities for people to come together, whether it's through Jewish celebrations or social gatherings. And we support each other during difficult times. We will continue to educate, learn, and teach. We have amazing programs for children and adults. Machna Shai is growing, so thank you, Sharon. I think she's busy with Machna Shai right now. We have weekly Torah study, sometimes led by Jonathan Crane, Marshall Duke, Rabbi Helfand, others. We have classes on Judaism, as I mentioned, and culture and ethics. There are plenty of opportunities for ongoing learning and personal growth, so take advantage of those opportunities. Shereth creates the framework for preserving and passing on Jewish traditions, learning of Hebrew, teaching customs and values to the next generation. Through the Shereth for Good Committee, we have embraced various social justice initiatives, school tutoring programs, food insecurity through the Backpack Buddies program. Rebecca's Tent has obviously been a staple of Shereth Israel, environmental sustainability. And Shereth provides a forum for individuals and families to connect with Judaism and their community. That being said, there is work to do, and we know what that work is. We have an amazing asset in our campus and our location. Being in the heart of Morningside, we have great accessibility for members of the in-town Jewish community. We have a location with historic ties to the Atlanta Jewish community, and our location can accommodate the needs of our congregation, but we're also exploring how we can better use that space. The master plan, as you recall, looked at how we can improve our buildings, our layout, our amenities, such as the kitchen, living room, our social hall, how we can create outdoor gathering spaces, potentially host community and social events, maybe an alternative services outside, possibly even a front porch, or just a porch. We're actively stewarding the campus for now and for the future. We're also prioritizing safety and security. You'll hear more about the perimeter fencing. We are the recipient of a large security grant. Thank you, Robin Rosenberg, Michael Rosenzweig, Jania for submitting and getting approved for this meaningful security grant. You'll hear more about it this morning through Micah. But we've also just increased our security, a number of guards, both guards in uniform as well as sort of somewhat plainclothesmen guards. So we've devoted more resources to security. We will continue the investment we have begun in staff and operational processes, and will continue to support our incredible programming and work of our congregation. However, we also need to maintain our financial sustainability. This shouldn't be new news, but operating costs have gone up over the years. Utilities, maintenance, staff salaries, programming costs. You've heard about the CPI and inflation over the last 4 or 5 years. And costs have gone up. That's the bottom line. This will require us to think about ways to generate more revenue for the synagogue. By generating more revenue, we can continue to provide the resources and support to our members. We can maintain and enhance the quality services and programs offered by Shereth, increasing revenue. And what that means is we're looking at our membership dues, our building fund, our annual appeal. That's how we get money. We get these one-off grants, but the bulk of our income come from those sources. Will allow us to also take care of our facilities. At our core, we want to support things that nurture our current and future community. I'm going to give a little preview of what else you're going to hear this morning. Jerry will provide a more complete update on our financial landscape, the business side of Sheriff. So thank you, Jerry, for providing us with the treasurer's report in a few minutes. Micah, as I mentioned, is going to share some of the big projects that have been taking place on the campus and the work that we're doing to steward one of our largest assets, the campus. Rabbi Kamen will talk about an exciting leadership program that we're just rolling out, the Horowitz Leadership Award. Last, I want to acknowledge and thank and appreciate all of our leaders, both staff and our lay leaders. In particular, we have a few board members that are rolling off the board. Marshall, Joanna, Ed, thank you for your years of dedication and service. And as I joked, there's always opportunities to come back to the board. And I want to welcome new members to our board. Mara Block, her son just had his bar mitzvah yesterday, so she's not here. But Mara, Andy Green, and Howie. Howie is spending the month in Israel, so he's busy over there. But I want to welcome the new board members. On that note, we will have Jerry present the treasurer's report.
Thank you. Thank you, Blair. Nice job. Thank you all for being here today, coming out on a Sunday morning. It's great to see everyone's smiling faces. I thought about throwing up an image of a spreadsheet. I thought, I'm not good at jokes, especially on a Sunday morning, so I'm just not even going to go there. So we're going to just jump right into it. We do have some strengths. We have some processes that I'm going to mention that we've improved and enhanced and introduced. And we also have some work to do, as Blair mentioned. We'll touch on that a little bit as well. Let me turn this a little more this way. So for our strengths, in our endowment funds that are held at Schwab, managed very ably by Barry Berlin and the investment committee, for 2023, our investment return was 14.74%, pretty good. We've got about 70% of that in equities and 30% in cash, so it didn't quite reach our 15.75% benchmark, but because we have to maintain some in cash, we just couldn't do that. So very happy with the way Barry is overseeing our investments. He's done a great job for us. Our annual appeal. Thank you, Faith, for leading that effort. She had a great committee, did a super job. Our annual appeal did exceed its goal, so looking good on that. And believe it or not, we actually already have at least one donation towards the 2024 annual appeal. So we've got some very forward-thinking people in our congregation as far as those kinds of things go. Life and legacy, Denise, I did see you this morning. Thank you, Denise McLaughlin, for overseeing this effort. We have 54 or so individual congregants representing 36 family units. So this area is definitely growing. So in our revenue collection, revenue generating areas, these are areas of strength for us, very much so. Some of our processes, we've changed our fiscal year. Our fiscal year now starts on July 1st, ends June 30th. The reason we did this is because the way our business operates is more on that kind of mid-year fiscal year. So our top employees' contracts renew early in our fiscal year, the July-August timeframe. Our religious school starts in August and goes through May. And there are some other processes that help us. With our annual appeal, we collect 60% of our revenue in the second quarter of what is now our new fiscal year, only 35% in the first 6 months of the calendar year. So that's the other reason we changed that fiscal year to align with how our money comes in. Just made more sense for us to do that. Another thing that we're doing this year, Jania came in and we talked about separating the capital budget. She was also a fan of having a fiscal year that more matched our business processes. So I'm so glad that Jania is here now. She is a fantastic addition to our team. Wherever she is. Not even in here? Oh, there you are. Okay. Hiding in the back. Got the good seat in the back. So yeah, Jania's presence, working with her as a treasurer, that was one of my biggest fears about saying yes to being treasurer is who's the executive director going to be? And it turns out I don't think we could have done any better. So thank you, Jania. So back to the capital budget. What we've done in past years is whenever we've spent money on a new roof or anything like that, it's always been mixed in with our operational budget. And what the capital budget allows us to do is plan out for many years. So we have projects that may start this year and not finish for another year or two. So we want to separate that out so we can really plan for how we're going to spend our money and what's going to happen. And we're not just reacting to problems, but we're planning for the future and how we're going to manage this physical plant. As Blair mentioned, we've got a great location here. It's a great building. It serves our needs very well. We do know that we want to make changes to it. And this approach with our finances helps us make those changes more clearly. The other thing that we've done, by separating our operating expenses and revenue, we can see, as far as running the business side of our organization, are we actually bringing in enough money to pay for the things that we have to do day to day, such as the electric bill, the salaries, everything that Blair mentioned. I don't need to go into a lot of detail on that. You folks know. So now we're going to be able to much better look at year to year and understand, why expenses went up in this area. So along with that capital budget, we'll actually manage it as a separate set of books and even a separate checking account to help us with that. We have a number of other policies that we're putting into place. We've had an investment policy that Blair started working on a few years ago. Barry Boleyn has tightened it up, and we should be presenting it to the board in the next month or two. I've got great fortune in being able to work with a terrific finance committee that is very intelligent, very wise, and helps guide us on these items. So with the investment policy as an example, using the principles that Barry and Blair have established over the years for how our money is invested, we've codified that into a document so that future chairs of the investment committee will maintain that investment policy and make sure that our funds are safeguarded for many years to come. So very happy about that. Some of the other things we're doing with Jania coming in, we've tightened up our cash management policies so that we hopefully will have less exposure to fraud. The way things work these days, you've got to always be looking for that. So changing some of our cash management policies to make sure that we're good there. We do have work to do. Our revenue this year came within $2,000 of meeting our budgeted revenue. We missed it by about $1,995. So I'd say that's pretty much a win. That's pretty good. Our dues, however, were a little disappointing. Our dues collection was down from the previous year 6%. And we don't know fully why yet. We're doing some additional research into that. When we started the year last year, we didn't have an executive director, and we basically had 4 people on staff. So when the year started, we had some challenges, and we've met those challenges. Well, let me talk about Life and Legacy first. So Life and Legacy is a terrific program for giving to Sheriff Israel beyond your years. So while we have a great response so far with 54 individuals, we need more. We need more. If you have any questions about this, please see Denise. You could talk to Blair or myself. We'll help you get fixed up on how to get involved in the Life and Legacy giving. It's very easy to do. Encourage everyone to take a look at doing that for the future of Sheriff Israel. So there's a common theme here. We need more money. So we can no longer rely solely on the appeal and dues, fact of life. So Life and Legacy helps us with this, but we've also started pursuing grants more aggressively. The last few years, we've won a few grants. Last year, Blair mentioned the security grant, $300,000 from the National Security Grant Program, nonprofit security grant program. And thanks to Blair and Robin and others, we've really, that's going to help us out. We haven't received any of that money yet because we haven't spent any. It's some of these grants you have to spend the money before you can get it back. So with the plans that Mike is going to talk about in a couple of minutes, we'll start collecting some of that money back. As I mentioned, we've had some investments in our staff. Last year, Jacinta, Andrea Slomka filled in ably as an executive director. Rabbi Kamen, Rabbi Helfand, Adam, Nancy did a great job. Everyone stepped up and really, worked hard. We went, 10 months without an executive director. And then Jania came along and we've started rebuilding. Jania hasn't, believe it or not, Jania has not even been here a year yet. Her anniversary is March 20th, so it's almost a year, but not quite a year. And she's already helped us accomplish so much, getting the staff to work even more efficiently, raising their abilities, helping to get them trained and working towards the kind of things that they need to do to help support our organization in these crazy times. So very, very happy with that. We've also, when I talk about investment in systems, I don't mean necessarily just information technology systems. We have other systems such as how we get this building maintained and cleaned. So we had a contract with a company that wasn't really serving our needs very well. So Jania got a look at that contract, saw how we could get out of it, got us out of it. The one good thing about that company was their employee who was helping us. He was very service-oriented, but he, of course, had to work within his company's guidelines. Well, Jania said, this guy's great, we're going to bring him on board, and she did. So we now have... So we have Greg Thomas now helping us full-time with setting up the facility, cleaning, maintaining, fixing, doing a great job. And they've also brought on Terry Millington, who helps us on a part-time basis with this work. So the staff is definitely getting beefed up. And we've hired another employee. She started last week or a few weeks ago. And Jania, I've forgotten her name. Can you help me?
My name is Shelby Kirk.
Shelby Kirk? Curley. So you'll start seeing her around. I'm sure she'll be answering phones and she'll be doing administrative work that's been sorely needed for a very long time. So happy to have her on board as well. Big area. We've started converting some of our cash. We have a lot of money in the endowments. A lot of money was in the cemetery fund, for example. Recently, the cemetery committee took advantage of an opportunity to buy more cemetery plots, and we should be good to go with cemetery plots for probably at least another 10 years, probably more like 20 years. If you have any questions about that, see member of that committee, Harold Kozlow, Barry Fuchs, Andy's last Mackler. Thank you, Andy Mackler. So good news on that front as we look forward and being able to serve the community going out for a long time. The HVAC system, that's been a running joke in Purim spiels for a long time. Early last year, we replaced our 1957 era boiler in the basement to give you an idea of how we need to start working on our physical plant. The stuff we have is old. It costs us more money to run it than it should, and it doesn't serve our needs. So Michael will talk more about that in just a couple of minutes. So we are strong. We have a lot of good strengths. We do have a lot of work to do. If you want to get a look at the financial reports, please use this QR code to get to the folder where these reside on a Google Drive. And are there any questions? Yes, ma'am.
How many Spanish units are there members?
There's about 440. Say again? 430. Any other questions? All right. If when you look at those financial reports, if you have questions, please give me a call or shoot me an email.
When I was asked to take on this responsibility a couple of years ago, we had quite a few things that we occurred. In the past 3 years,
That's okay. Right. So I'm gonna hold this for a sec. You're gonna clip this to yourself. Pause in order.
okay, is this better?
Is that better, y'all?
All right. Okay. So over the past 3 years, we've actually accomplished quite a few things. This list is small, and that's because I'm not intending to get into every particular project, but this tells you what we've done in the past 3 years. These are the items that we need to accomplish this year. The bottom of the list from the past 3 years is stuff we just couldn't get started, but needs to be done. And then the 2024 list, which I'll talk about in a little bit more depth. Don't get too encouraged. This is what we got to do over the next couple of years. So the big news is the security grant projects. As was mentioned, the effort with Michael Rosenzweig and Robin Rosenberg resulted in the receipt of 2 $150,000 grants, which are administered by the Georgia Emergency Management Agency using federal dollars. Because we had 2 buildings, we could apply for 2 grants. So what we wrote for was in this building to work on our general physical security. And then for the 1140 building, we used to call the education building, we actually utilize that because it represents the majority of our site to secure the grant to fence the property. For 2025, the process will start in the next couple weeks. And what we're talking about for 1180 we've talked about a couple things. One is a new head unit, the main computer that deals with our access control and security cameras and things like that. What we have is very out of date. So we're probably going to write for that. If we have additional dollars after we budget that, we may look at how we enter the building during the weekdays and do something that's consistent with the master plan process. But again, that's very dependent on how much money is left after we deal with the immediate need for security cameras. And then projecting for 1140, the condition of the windows and doors in that building is pretty desperate. We actually attempted to write for a grant on that through an ESG funding source. We weren't successful, so we're going to take this and take an approach as a security improvement and hopefully get those monies awarded in 2025. Doors and locks. A few samples for those of you who've spent some time roaming around parts of the building that everybody sees. But most importantly, in the lower left, that is our keying system. I'm not kidding, that is our keying system. We do not have good key control. We do not have good ability to access spaces in an emergency. This is part of what we're going to solve this year with this project. And then fencing, I think the need for fencing should be obvious. We only keep a number of security personnel on site. We have a big site, and we have a site that's very easy to access, especially during the week when we don't have security personnel on site. So that became our priority. The fencing, and here you can see some of our neighbors over on La Vista Road. It's going to be similar in character to what they have. Basically, it'll extend from Zimmerman Hall up to the front, the west end of the property, back down Spring Valley Lane, and close around the driveway near the Rebecca's Tent entry. Yeah. So this is Young Israel, and this is Beth Jacob. It's okay, oratory, yeah. Yeah. Not chain link. No, and in fact, one of the challenges we have is unlike those other two congregations where they can put nice fence on the front and then use less expensive fence around the edges, we have two very long fronts. So, yeah. Oh, okay. No, the question was about the appearance of the fence, and as I said, we have two fronts of our property. We have over 1,000 feet of fence that we have to deal with, so it's a much more expensive project for us than it is for our friends.
Mike, so there's not going to be a fence around this building. It's basically going to go from the backside of this building all around the education building.
The east parking lot at the moment will not get fenced. That's not within the budget that we've established.
What is the height going to be? Like the height in those pictures did not look very high.
Right, so the height of the fence, actually, the current zoning, let's see if I can do that without, there we go, okay. Okay, so the height of the fence would be 6 feet. This is actually going to require a zoning variance. Andy Mackler, in addition to a number of other things he does for the synagogue, is also on the Morningside NPU, and he is looking into making sure we can get that variance smoothly. Any other questions about security projects? All right. Heating and air projects. So this is consistent with what Jerry said about replacing systems from 1957. All right, so we did the boiler replacement. That was actually done out of order. We'd hoped to get a few more years out of the boiler and focus on some of the air conditioning projects. That didn't happen. The boiler went out last winter and we had to deal with it. The boiler that we replaced it with, we did actually spend a little bit of extra money, about $20,000, in addition to the $70,000 base price to increase the efficiency. Within about 5 to 7 years, the reduced consumption will more than offset the entire $100,000 cost of the boiler, not just the premium, but the entire cost. That gives you some sense of how inefficiently we've been heating this building. Cooling is the same situation. Equipment's from 1957. Our strategy coming into 2023, but distracted by the boiler, is to start with the administrative wing, the offices. Currently, we run a system that operates the lobby, the chapel, and the offices most of the week just for the benefit of the offices. So we're going to take all the offices, put them on one system, make our energy use during the week, reduce that significantly. So that's the first phase. We call that phase 1A. Phase 1B then deals with the lobby and the chapel and replacing that older equipment. And then we have to address the sanctuary where we're sitting and Goldstein Hall behind us, which has two air handlers, but they run off the same cooling system. So that will wind up being the biggest project as we address these larger spaces. And then what we're expecting in 2027 is Zimmerman Hall through the master plan is actually being replaced. However, if the master plan doesn't come to pass, we'll have to deal with that system later in the process. 1140 also has multiple systems. We wound up replacing what we call Zone 1, which was the building from 1917 at the far west end of the site, the ground floor. That required a complete replacement before the new tenant occupied. That's been completed. 2024, we got hit with a surprise, and one of the 1982 machines went out completely and had to be replaced. We had already prepared for that to happen. We were hoping again that that was a couple years out. 2025 and 2026, our expectation is we're going to lose the system upstairs in the old building, old part of the building, and the fourth zone, which is in the 1982 edition, will come behind that. So we're planning for that. We'll try to get as much life out of those machines as we can, but this is what we're projecting will need to happen. The upper left, those are our shiny new boilers. Like I said, down there saving us money even as we speak. But as you can see from the other 5 pictures, we still have plenty to do. My personal favorite picture that I've taken this past year is in the upper right-hand corner. Apparently 1957, they already knew we were changing the climate with these machines. We do have opportunities for funding. Jerry talked about it a little bit as far as outside funding. But as you'll note on the left side, Sheriff Israel, the fact is grants are available for maybe 3 to 5% of what we need to do. So it's going to take effort from us and the Treasury to make all this work. Georgia Interfaith Power and Light has already given us a grant. They actually gave us $8,000 towards the new boiler, so not quite, I don't know, more than 5%, not quite 10% of the cost. But that grant was contingent on us spending the additional money for the efficiency, right? So grants come with strings attached. FEMA and GEMA are responsible for the 2 $150,000 security grants. As I mentioned, that cycle will start again for applying for next year. They don't tell us the date, they just kind of drop the application sometime in the spring, so we're anticipating that. As I mentioned, we applied for a grant from South Face to improve windows and doors in the 1140 building. We weren't successful. We had a really good debrief. We know what we need to do. It's going to take some work on the treasurer's side as far as how we present our finances in order to make the process acceptable to the funding sources that sit behind South Face. The other issue with South Face grants is they can't be used on worship spaces. So we can use them for 1140, we might use them for the administrative wing, but again, it's limited in terms of what we can do, but there's an opportunity there. And then one that we're looking into now, based on Jody Kovalevker's encouragement is Adama as a funding source also. I don't know that much about that one, but all these take work. Not a whole lot of work, but they take work for application. So if anybody would like to help with the application process, it's very important. And please reach out to me or Janaea to volunteer. Any further questions? That good, huh? All right, thank you very much. I think I turn it over to Rabbi.
Thank you. Thank you.
Micah has just done a great job for us. The services that he's provided for free are probably worth several $100,000.
Thank you, Micah and Jerry and Blair and all of you, really, who have. I mean, as I look around this room right now and I think about all the contributions of so many, I think actually it's probably around 80% of the people in this room that I've worked deeply and closely with on different projects of the congregation over the almost 8 years that I've been here. And when I think about the strengths of Sheriff Israel, its leaders are our primary, most important strength. It comes before our building. Our building is the container that holds the people, that creates the possibilities for all of the magic and the accomplishment of the mission that is so dear to all of us. And I'm so, so proud of the way in which we utilize one another's gifts and strengths and abilities to make something really historic, incredible, beautiful, meaningful. At the end of my, actually before, at the very beginning, I'm gonna go back to the very beginning of my time as the rabbi of Sheriff Israel. I had the opportunity to sit down with Perlan and Scott Horowitz and to talk about their long family history. And in a few moments, I'm going to invite Perlan to talk about Jerry specifically, because Jerry Horowitz was someone who inherited from his family, from his father, a legacy of involvement with the Jewish community. And he invested into this Jewish community. And he built a successful business on the foundation of relationships and trust. And he shared those gifts with so many. But of all the gifts that he shared, which were substantial, he took time when he met someone to take them out to lunch, to get to know them, to understand what are their gifts, what are their abilities. And he invested in mentoring them to share those gifts, to share those abilities, to show them the way that by sharing your gifts and your abilities and your blessings with the Jewish community, your life is enriched. Your life becomes one that is full of meaning and of purpose that makes a difference in our communal history. And so when Scott and Perlan approached me about establishing an award in honor of Jerry's memory, it was immediately clear to all of us that establishing an award for leadership development was the way in which we would go. And with the help of many people, we came up with a plan to establish a cohort of mentors, the Jerry Horowitz mentors. And these mentors will every year take out young rising leaders out to lunch and get to know them and to learn their strengths and their abilities and to help them to connect those strengths and those abilities and those blessings with work that is meaningful. And in a few moments, I'm going to announce the first mentors. But before I do, I want to invite Perlan forward, who has a few words to share about Jerry and about what how he would be in this moment, because I imagine him here in the Horowitz Sanctuary to witness this moment with us of establishing this award.
On one of my notepads, I happen to have this one with me. I'm afraid my train of thought has left the station, which is sort of the way I feel this morning. Anyway, I wanted to just kind of give a few little insights or reflections, so to speak, about what it means to be a leader. When Jerry's father died, Scott, our son, was just a year old. And all of a sudden, he had to be in charge of everything and everybody in the family. So I guess the first thing he had to do when he absorbed the death was after he finished at his office, he would go take his secretary and go to his father's office to try and straighten out the books and get things in a state of being able to sell it. Those were long days and long nights. Another time, Jerry's sister Vivian, when her husband left, departed, she had 3 young children and no means of support. So not only was that another fathering that was necessary, it was also monetary. So when there was a need, he stepped up because it's when there's no choice. And then someone reminded me of something interesting the other night. Our daughter is in Habima, which is a play put on at the community center with men and women with developmental disabilities. And when we were talking with a couple of the staff that were members from when the community center was on Peachtree, and I had chaired that committee for the center, and we decided to put on a first play. And it was simple, it was young, it was small. But what happened on the first night was, here were these actors giving it their best, and hardly anybody could really hear them. By the second night, they all had microphones. Jerry went out and purchased them. I'd almost forgotten that until one of the staff people who remembered it very well mentioned it. And then there was a time when we were in Russia visiting refuseniks. And then we were supposed to leave Russia and go on to Israel. At about 1 o'clock in the morning, when we were asleep, we all get a call, our Pan Am flight has been canceled. So now here are 8 of us in Moscow, 8 of us in, at the time, St. Petersburg or Leningrad then. And so as we're all in a major panic of not being able to meet up with the rest of the group, Jerry headed down to the office, and aloha, we had a flight taking us in the morning that was Aeroflot. I don't think we realized how dangerous it could be, but that's how we left Russia. And actually, we had an unscheduled stop in Latvia. Everyone had to get off the plane, and needless to say, no iPhones at the time, no way of communicating. We are sort of swallowed up in the bowels of Russia. And then, I guess about an hour later, they got us back on the plane, and lo and behold, we land in Paris to head on to Israel. So it was a matter of somebody had to do something. We didn't know if it was possible, but that was his determination. That was Russia. And then, as I think Rabbi alluded to several other things, I don't want to belabor it, but I also couldn't help but remember when my daddy, Sidney Goulden, was in the steel business. Abe Besser told me something I never knew, I think my brother did, but when they needed steel to build that menorah for the Holocaust Memorial at Greenwood, he supplied the steel. When we moved into this building and Daddy was president, he tried a leadership initiative that you could buy a plaque for particular seats. It didn't mean we ever sat in those seats. They weren't our seats. As a matter of fact, I never sat in those seats till Jerry and I got married, because his family was sitting in those seats. So, it's not a matter of having your name so that that's your place. It's a matter of stepping up wherever and whenever there's a need. On another note that doesn't involve Jerry, but I happened to see it on one of the news programs. There was a hiker, as he's trying to come down the mountain, he sees this dog that is shriveled up, hungry, lost. He picks up this dog and decides he's going to carry that dog down, all the way down the mountain, which he did. The dog ended up being revived, uniting with the rest of his family. Just another good story. So, in our Judaic minds, I know we have signed a pledge that when we're not here, at least 50% of our donations to be made will go to Jewish causes. So I think that's something else that all of us, as we think of mentors, as we think of future leaders, that those are different little vignettes and things to keep in mind. So I don't want to belabor it, but thank you.
You know, Perlan, that story that you told about the dog is a story that echoes in the Midrash, a story of Moshe Rabbeinu, who, of why he was chosen. There was a sheep that was thirsty. He didn't know that's what it was, and he followed this one sheep as a shepherd far up a mountain over all kinds of terrain, just trying to bring it back, that one sheep. And when that one sheep came to drink, he said, if I had known you were thirsty, I would have carried you here myself. And that is why Moshe Rabbeinu was chosen as the leader of the people of Israel, because of he was responsible for a flock, but he cared about one. And when I think about all of you and all of the people who come and join Shereth Israel, we are blessed with so many Moshe Rabbeinus. We are blessed with so many people who have such gifts and abilities. And it takes a little bit of time and effort and work to mentor those abilities, to help to shepherd them into their greatness. And so Jerry's legacy is going to help support that work, and we're going to live in it. And the first mentors whose names will be upon a plaque are 2 out of 3, I think, are here today, and I'm proud to announce them. The first is Marshall Duke, will be one of the first mentors, Jerry Horowitz mentors. Marshall has been a mentor to countless students and countless of us, myself included. His wisdom and his insights into people's quest for meaning is something that I am always learning from, and I'm so proud that he will be one of those who are shepherding our young leaders into their greatness. Another who is here today is Faith Levy. Faith was instrumental in helping to build the last steps of our leadership pipeline and helping to craft the process by which our executive committee comes into formation. It was a process that has intentionality and thought. And in Faith's professional life, she meets students for medical school all the time and helps them her thoughts and her insights, and she often sees what many people don't. And so I'm so proud that Faith is going to be one of our Jerry Horowitz mentors. And finally, the last mentor we're announcing this year is Steve Merlin. And Steve is a past president of the congregation. He was a dear close friend of the whole Horowitz family. It was him who helped me to create the structure and to evolve the structure of this process. And they will be together meeting with young leaders, rising leaders, that we're not going to publish that list in the same kind of way, because they all deserve mentorship. They all deserve the gift of time with these mentors. And each year, we're going to notice one of those mentors a little bit more than others. And at this time, at the annual meeting next year, we will award one of our rising leaders with the Jerry Horowitz Rising Leader Award. And that award consists of an investment in their future, a sense of opportunity that we recognize their potential, and we're going to do what we can to help activate that potential. And that gift will be funded by the Horowitz family and their legacy, and it will help to build our future. And I'm so proud to inaugurate this award to honor Jerry's memory and to build the future of Shearith Israel Le'olam Odeka, forever and ever.
That's incredible. I'm speaking personally, having nothing to do with being up in front of you today, to say that Marshall Duke is the reason that I became president of Shearith Israel. He started the process of helping me to learn about what it meant. Faith was my president at the time and helped the amazing transition. And Steve helped me very personally with one of my very first, as president, one of the hardest things we had to do to negotiate some folks, and he came along. So that is well done. Well done. Thank you. That's amazing. I'm going to stop sharing just for 1 second. I know we're running long, and so I'm going to be super fast in telling you about our slate. Let me scooch over so you can see here. As chair of the 2024 CSI Board Nominating Committee, it is always hard to say goodbye to board members. However, we have the joy of knowing this particular group is already deeply involved in a million other things. I actually didn't even know about Marshall, so this is fantastic that it fits in, that Marshall, Ed, Tina, and Joanna are so deeply engaged that they're already involved in other shul projects, as you'll hear in a moment. So this isn't goodbye, it's really just a shift to other areas of expertise, which is exactly how it should be. But I am honored to share the impressive slate of incoming board members for your consideration. It was an actual joy to work with the nominating committee as we reviewed all these exceptional candidates, congregants, I should say, willing to add their voices and leadership to this board. Landing on our final slate was exciting and ensured that we continued the juggle of aligning demographics, right, to represent this incredible intergenerational nature of Shearith Israel. So that said, I am so thrilled to share that our nominees are the chair of the Past President's Council is Howie Slamka, which, by the way, if I can just say, Howie being in Israel and Melanie not being here because she is deeply in her bar mitzvah weekend is so beautiful and exactly what we want to be doing and living our Jewish lives together. It's fantastic. So chair of the Past President's Council will be Howie Slamka. Members at large, we have 3 roles to fill this year. We are so lucky that Tina Arbus is returning to continue her role, which is unbelievable. Andy Green has stepped up in his first official role in leadership, but not in his first contributions to our shul, and same with Mara Block. All 3 are going to bring a lot to our member at large team and also start us building as we continue to build succession in our leadership here. A reminder that in March of 2025, we'll be rolling over the rest of the board. And so if you have any interest in learning about leadership opportunities, there's something to fit everyone, please contact me, a board member, or professional staff will gladly help you find a spot for moving forward. With that, if you have not already voted, are we voting now? Is that what we're doing now? And the other piece of this, which I'll let you introduce in a second, Jania is handing out ballots. The second thing on the ballot is the approval of Rabbi Kamen's contract. And Blair, I'm not sure if you want to share. Perfect. Okay, great.
Thank you, Heidi.
Thank you.
For all the previous thoughtful presentations. Per the bylaws, the renewal or termination of a contract with any clergy shall be upon the recommendation of the board. The board has recommended the renewal of Rabbi Kamen's contract and voted upon by the congregation. Many people voted in advance of the annual meeting, but this is an opportunity to vote at the annual meeting. As I step back, I'll be quick. The other day I was thinking about what makes a great rabbi. I created a top 10 list. Deep knowledge and understanding of Judaism, check. Rabbi does have that skill set. Strong communication skills. Rabbi is an effective communicator. Empathy and compassion. Rabbi does have that ability to provide emotional support. Leadership abilities. Rabbi does serve as our spiritual guide, our spiritual leader. Approachability and accessibility. Rabbi is approachable. He's sometimes open to feedback. But, commitment to social justice. Inclusivity and open-mindedness. Rabbi embraces diversity. He welcomes individuals from different backgrounds and different perspectives into our community. Community building skills. This is very important to Rabbi Kamen. Continuing his own education and growth. And above all, integrity and ethics. Rabbi Kamen upholds the highest standards of ethical conduct and integrity. So with that, please place your votes for the new Board of Trustees and for the renewal of Rabbi Kamen's contract. And we should get our results momentarily. So vote and give your votes to Jania. And Jania will count them. We're running a little behind. Should we get count? Maybe we'll count right now. Let's see. I need to vote. Yeah. Let me. Did you vote? All right. Maybe we'll go over here, Janine. Just count both votes.
While we're counting, I'm going to give away some of Blair's exciting upcoming things. One of the things that the board is doing, and I think this may be the first time ever, while one of our board meetings, which is usually at the synagogue, is going to be turned into a workshop and a retreat where we all spend some time at the Carlos Museum and dig into some of the big issues that you've heard here, talking more about spend and our goals and how we present to you so that we are all making decisions that come back to our big mission. And so I'm really excited that our April board meeting will be doing that, and we'll have lots to share with the congregation after that.
All right, a little preview for Purim while we're waiting. You know, the staff and leadership actually struggled a little bit with how to approach Purim in this year, because Purim, the story of Purim, is a story that is one of total joy, but also it's a little bit on the nose for the challenges that we are facing this year. They tried to kill us. We fought back. Not only did we win, we won big. And it was hard. And we often don't focus on the hard parts of this story. But to ignore them completely and to just have a all-out celebration where we, get drunk and party didn't quite feel like the right energy for this year. And so I think it was, I'm not sure, I think it was Rabbi David who may have first had the idea to approach Judy Robkin and to think about how we might use art as a medium to help us explore the complex emotions that emerge when we consider all that is happening this year. And so on Saturday night, we're going to begin with a full reading of about half the Megillah, right? 5 or 6 chapters of the Megillah. And it will be a reading of the Megillah. We will wave groggers and we will boo and all the things that happen in the Megillah reading. And then we're going to break in the middle to enter into an art project that will move into Goldstein, and there we're going to create masks. And I'll talk a lot more about this next Saturday night, but the masks that we wear on Purim, they lift up the part of the story that is about when we hide one part of ourselves, another part that is also true often emerges. And the question of what that other part is actually an open question. Typically, it's the part that's a little bit less reserved, the part that gets drunk and has a big party. But that's not the only part that may be within us. And so there's a kind of art form that I don't fully understand, but Judy does, and we'll be talking about that helps to paint our emotions onto this mask and react to the complex story and the moment that we're in. And that is going to be a process that we all engage in communally. There'll be wine, there'll be cheese, there'll be community, and then we will conclude with the final chapters of the Megillah. I think the things are ready. Sunday's going to be a great party, but with kids, and what's good for kids is different than what's good for adults, and so that's the idea. So the Sunday reading this year will be kid-focused, family-focused, a lot less of that complex stuff, and a lot more of the, how kids need to enjoy Purim. So bring your grandkids and your kids and your whole families, and come ready to have costumes and bounce house and slideshow and all the fun things of Purim. All right, I'm staying right here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so the votes were 88 approve and 2 non-approve.
Okay.
So we're going to do the installation. Installation is next.
Installation. That's right. Okay. So here, I'm going to invite all the board members who are here. I'm going to invite to come and stand on the bima. And I'm going to turn my attention to you all. I'm actually going to grab my book.
Yeah, all board members. All board members.
All the board members.
All board members.
Even if you've been on the board, this is a new year, a new board. Okay. You are standing before a congregation that has a 120-year history. 120 years is a number in our tradition that has significance. Actually, today is Zayin Adar, the day of Moshe Rabbeinu's Yortzeit. And Moshe Rabbeinu lived to be 120 years. And so when we thought about this year, the 120th year of Shearith Israel, and we thought about how much to lift it up, we thought, okay, we're not dead yet, so... But I want you to think for a moment about what it means to inherit the leadership of an organization that is 120 years old. And to imagine in your minds for a moment all of the boards that have took upon the responsibility of shepherding and stewarding a small part of a much bigger story. Moshe Rabbeinu, he lived 120 years, but we still invoke his name. We still tell our story. We are, in a way, continuing to be Moshe Rabbeinu in this time, in this place, at this moment. And as you look upon our congregation of 120 years, and you remember all of the stories and the challenges that were faced in those 120 years, know that you are entrusted with that sacred story continuing, that you help to shape our history and our future, that you guide us together to a place that is full of meaning and purpose. And my blessing to you at this moment of beginning this year's board term is that you always remember that we have an incredible strength at Shearith Israel, because we know who we are, and we have been working for all these years of who we are becoming, know that your responsibility in shepherding that story is not without challenge. But the challenge is what makes life meaningful, because we overcome those challenges together. And when we do, we write a new chapter, and the story continues on, le'olam, forever and ever. I'd like to say at this moment together with you the Shehechianu. Baruch Ata Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, she'echiyanu v'kiyamanu v'giyanu lazman hazeh. I'm so proud to get to serve with you in this next year and to be part of the 120th and the 121st year of writing the Shereth Israel story together.
Motion to adjourn the 2024 annual meeting. Thank you, Jerry. Second. Robin, thank you. Second. All right. Success. Thank you all.
Hello.
Okay.
It's a few months.
It's a great idea.
I was hoping you'd be here.
It's a great idea, yeah.
Okay.
Starting now. Asher, thank you for helping with the plug. That was awesome.
Hello. Peekaboo.